Ports America Chesapeake is here. Bud Hogan's, he's the Senior Vice President. We have the best public-private partnership in maritime worldwide, hands down. Port of Baltimore and Ports America Chesapeake. And on the Ro-Ro side, Wallenius is one of our biggest partners here at the port, Wallenius Wilhelmsen. So with that, we got a great lineup of speakers. Our first speaker is a lifelong resident of Baltimore City, who was first a city councilman, then was elected as council president, and then became the 52nd mayor of Baltimore City in 2020. He just visited our Masonville Cove environmental campus 2 weeks ago and is a big supporter of the Port of Baltimore. Please welcome the mayor of Baltimore, Brandon Scott.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Bill. He is the most fabulous port director in the world, the best port director in the world, without a doubt. We're always glad to be with you, sir. First, I want to give a warm welcome to Secretary Trevelyan and the entire delegation of the UK. I also want to welcome Ambassador Ty and her team back to Baltimore, as you were just here a few weeks ago. And I know that our teams had a productive meeting and look forward to continue to work with you all. And I want to thank both of you for choosing to host your trade summit here in Baltimore City. It is only fitting that Baltimore, with this significant history as a center of trade and commerce, is hosting this discussion around advancing trade relationships while also promoting innovation and inclusion in these spaces. I also want to recognize the members of the best congressional delegation that the United States Congress has, Senator Ben Cardin, Senator Chris Van Hollen, and my Congressman Dutch Ruppersberger, for your work that you do each and every day, not just for the port, not just for Baltimore and our state, but really the country and the world. I know that I have the envy of mayors around the country, and I'm so glad that I can make them envious by having you all as my congressional delegation. We are here today at the Port of Baltimore, our city, one of our city's key economic engines and the main export-import hub serving the entire Mid-Atlantic region. The port generates nearly $3.3 billion in personal income and supports 15,000 direct jobs and an additional 139,000 jobs connected to port work. And we also know that this port generates more than $395 million in taxes and $2.6 billion in business income. However, this port sometimes, I feel, doesn't get the recognition that she should, as an engine, as a place of opportunity, as a place that can change lives and families and change the world. As I know, as a grandson of someone who used to work on this port, as a nephew and the son of someone who came from rural North Carolina and rural Virginia, because the Port of Baltimore existed, it created an opportunity for my family to change its life, thus changing my trajectory as well. But if we're going to change the fact that the port is often ignored, we have to continue to build. We have to continue to build partnerships and building a partnerships through a port that has been integral in building this nation. So that's why we're here today, to talk about the opportunity for us to continue to build that. Madam Secretary, as you've seen, we have a lot of tractors that if you guys need them in the UK, we'll be sure to send them your way. Cars too, whatever you guys need, we will send it your way. I want to commend and thank both the ambassador and the secretary for being here, because we know that the Port of Baltimore, this city of Baltimore, historically has played a place in the history of this world that no other city has, and we look forward to continue to build that partnership and building in a way that is very inclusive of women, of people of all races, so that we can truly continue to host up this port as the best port in the world. And with that, I will turn it over to my Congressman, Dutch Ruppersberger.
Well, first thing, what a great day. And we that come to the Port of Baltimore, I've represented for over 20 years. It's just so positive for so many good things that have happened here, especially jobs. I have to deviate for 1 second. I can't be at the Port of Baltimore without mentioning Helen Bentley. I know she's not here, but she's looking down and she's tough. So I want to make sure that I acknowledge her involvement with the port, and she worked with everyone together to really help the port get where it is today. Now, welcome to Maryland's 2nd District. As I said, I've been representing the port for 20 years. It's the economic engine of our area, of our state. We welcome President Biden here in November, and today we have the United States Trade Representative, Catherine Tai, and the United Kingdom's Secretary of State for International Trade, Anne-Marie Trevelyan. And I'm so glad you're here, and I know you're going to accomplish a lot, the two of you here today, and we welcome you. I'm proud of what the port is achieving by investing in both technology and our union-backed workforce, as well as the private-public partnership that manages the port. And Bill Doyle, you're doing a great job. You've got a lot of enthusiasm. The only thing, you talk a little funny, but you know, we in Baltimore, we're told we talk funny too. So throw me the ball, and we can talk like this all the time, right? You know, that's it. And you know, and one of the things I want to acknowledge too, it shows you where we are in the port. That we've got the best technology in the world. The 50-foot berth and 4 massive Neo-Panamax container cranes, and they'll be put into action. We see where they are, and that's just going to make us better and better. So we're on a roll, not roll on, but we're on a roll, and we really appreciate that. Things are only going to get better with the Bipartisan Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act passed earlier this year in Congress, infusing $2.25 billion in Port of Baltimore and its counterparts around the country. I would like all that money, but we can't be greedy. Now, the United States shares an unbreakable bond with the United Kingdom. My time on the House Intelligence Committee helped me to understand the depth of our relationship, especially when it comes to mutual national security. We're so close with the United Kingdom, and we're going to stay close with them, especially in this world and the way it is right now. Already, goods and services exported from Maryland to the UK total $1.8 billion per year and support 10,600 jobs. That's really good for Maryland. I hope the conversations that take place with our friends will explore more ways to grow our economic strategies and ties. Now, our country's supply chain is only as strong as its weakest link, and that became crystal clear during the pandemic. The future of Atlantic trade is coordination and logistics and technology. I hope that Maryland's innovative cyber and technology sectors can partner with the businesses in the UK. As an example, I've been working closely with companies that are focused on geospatial data analytics. What does that mean? Anybody know? Well, I'll tell you. These companies are able to crush massive amounts of data and images to prevent disruptions and increase efficiency, whether it's across the English Channel or the Atlantic Ocean. Now, disruptions, not unlike the container ship currently stuck in the Chesapeake. I know our Coast Guard, by the way, is working to free that, and the name of that ship is Ever Forward. It's a great name for a boat, but by the way, the Ever Forward, and that's an appropriate name, I think, for where we're going to go with the port and our relationship with the UK. Now, I'll stop here because we have several speakers. It's now my pleasure to introduce my friend, fellow appropriator, and champion of Maryland and the Port of Baltimore, Senator Chris Van Hollen. Chris.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Dutch.
Well, thank you. It is a great day in the great city of Baltimore. Mayor Scott, thank you for your leadership. Director Bill Doyle, thank you and your team. You make us so proud, and we're out here looking at a container ship coming in, the new super cranes, and a group of Baltimore representatives from our business sector, including McCormick, Under Armour, and many others. It's great to be here with our congressional delegation. Dutch Ruppersberger, thank you for your representation in District 2 here, but also as a fellow member of an appropriations committee. We work very closely between the House and the Senate. And of course, with my good friend, colleague, and partner, Ben Cardin, I want to thank him for all his leadership. To our special representative, Ambassador Tai, we're so thrilled to have you in this position. Thank you for bringing the Secretary, the State Secretary for International Trade, Trevelyan, here to Baltimore. And Secretary Trevelyan, thank you for your partnership in trade as well as the the partnership between our two countries, the United States and the United Kingdom. We do have a very special relationship, and Madam Secretary, I have to say we've come a long way since the War of 1812 here in Baltimore. Our special relationship is not just defined by a shared history, but most importantly by our shared values. Values of freedom, values of democracy, equality, and the rule of law. And as we gather here, those values are under direct threat because of Putin's unprovoked attack on the people of Ukraine. And the United States and the United Kingdom, together with our NATO partners, are standing strong in support of the people of Ukraine. I know all the people in the United States are standing in solidarity with the people of Ukraine. And I say that because with our special partner here, the UK, I want to thank the UK and Secretary Trevelyan for terminating most favored nation status for Russia. The House of Representatives, Congressman Ruppersberger and his colleagues, passed a similar measure last week, and I hope the Senate will take that up just as quickly as possible. The unity between our two countries, between the United States and the United Kingdom, was reaffirmed, and yes, thank you, Bill, for arranging that. Was reaffirmed just last June when President Biden and Prime Minister Johnson announced a new Atlantic Charter. And among many things included in that charter was an expansion of trade between our two countries. That trade is important to the United States, it's important to the UK, it's important to Maryland and Baltimore. You heard the trade between the UK and Baltimore and Maryland supports 10,000 jobs, over 10,000 jobs here in our state. And if you include jobs in our state from UK companies and investment here, it's over 26,000 jobs. As Bill said, that's all sorts of cargo, LNG, tractors, medicines, over 900,000 tons between our two countries every year. So, Madam Secretary, we did a little math. We calculated that that's the weight of 60,000 Big Bens. 60,000 Big Bens, and we want to double that in the coming years. So I am very pleased to be here with my colleagues. As was mentioned, the dredging of the channel that takes you out, that allows the ships to come here, and the deep berth, the 50-foot berths, is made possible by dredging from the Army Corps of Engineers. I'm pleased to have worked with my colleagues, Congressman Ruppersberger, Senator Cardin, and the others. Over the last 5 years, the federal government has invested over $154 million in keeping that channel deep and clear so that we can have a thriving port. So to everybody here and to the men and women of the ILA and all the team at the port, I want to thank all of you for what you do. Senator Cardin is a great partner. I mentioned the monies for dredging the channels. He sits on the Environment and Public Works Committee and has been very instrumental in making sure that we continue to have those funds to dredge the channel and allow for a very thriving port right here in the great city of Baltimore. Senator Cardin.
Let me thank Senator Van Hollen for that generous introduction, but more importantly for everything he does in regards to securing the resources we need in order to keep the Port of Baltimore where it needs to be in international competition. To Bill Doyle, congratulations. Thank you for arranging this vessel to come right by as we are talking. We see the cargo. I shouldn't have mentioned that because now everybody's going to be looking at the cargo ship rather than following what I have to say. But you know, Bill Doyle is shameless in using every opportunity he can to advance the Port of Baltimore, and we appreciate that. As I drove up this morning, he conducted a little bit of business in regards to an antitrust bill while I was in the parking lot to get my co-sponsorship. So I just want you to know that he's working every minute on behalf of the Port of Baltimore. So give him our appreciation for everything he does. Secretary Trevelyan, it's very nice to have you here. Thank you very much for visiting. Ambassador Ty, it's always great to have you here in Baltimore. Ambassador Ty will tell you that in regards to trade negotiations, she has to deal with some difficult members of Congress at times. Congress has the principal jurisdiction over trade, and we delegate that to the administration through trade promotional authority so that they can negotiate. We have a little bit of problem with that right now. We're trying to get that done. And at times we have different views as to which countries we should move forward with in regards to our trade talks. But I can tell you, in regards to the United States and UK, there is strong support in the Congress of the United States to strengthen the ties between our two countries. You are a great partner in so many ways. And now that we're in this battle literally to save democracy in regards to Putin's invasion of Ukraine, it's even more important than ever that we unite the free world. And let me tell you something, as Bill has already mentioned, this port will play a critical role in protecting freedom through our LNG exports to Europe, so they are not dependent upon Russian gas in order to deal with their energy needs. We can play a critical part in that fight right here in the Port of Baltimore. So congratulations to that. I just really want to underscore the point that my colleagues have mentioned, Mayor Scott and Congressman Ruppersberger and Senator Van Hollen. This is Team Maryland. It really is Team Maryland. The port is our priority. It's been our priority. We recognize how critically important it is to the economy of our region and to the economy of our nation. We are proud of the Port of Baltimore. We have a natural advantage because we're so inland. We want to take advantage of that. So that's why Team Maryland has worked with all of our partners at the state level, the local level, our private sector level. We appreciate the relationship we have with the ILA. We have Team Maryland that works together. Yes, we made sure that we had the 50-foot dredge done here because we knew how critically important that was. Before we passed the infrastructure bill, our priority was to make sure that the containers that came in here could by rail go in the most efficient way, which is double stacking. We brought in the players from CSX. The mayor will know this, the senator, congressman. We were able to use our influence for an infra grant, and we appreciate that. That tunnel will be replaced with double stacking to make this port even more efficient. Before the infrastructure bill, yeah, that's critically important. Before the infrastructure bill passed, before we had additional resources, we invested in the Supermax. We recognized what was happening at the Panama Canal. That's why we put in the berths, and we have the cranes now that can handle these super vessels. The Port of Baltimore was prepared to meet the competition of the future. And then comes the COVID-19 and consumer buying changes. And this port was flexible and could take advantage of the needs of consumers in our economy in order to come through this pandemic in a stronger position than we were before. Congratulations to you. We did this. And yes, to our representative in the UK, we can take more business. You saw those super cranes that were up there. Those super, they can handle a lot more cargoes coming in. We have plenty of cars for you, and we're glad to take in your. This is an import-export port, and we want to do business both ways. So we are very bullish on the Port of Baltimore. We're very bullish on our region and our economy, and we're so pleased to be able to show off the Port of Baltimore at any time. So to Secretary Trevelyan, thank you for being here, and we welcome you to the podium, and we welcome your remarks.
Many, many thanks for that really warm welcome, and Bill, really for a backdrop which no photographer or news hound could really do better with, honestly. But timing is everything, as ever. It's such a pleasure to be here in Baltimore, this great cradle of global trade that's been such an important cog in the engine of your American economic growth for so long. This city's famous docks connecting the United States with the world, and of course with the UK. I'm pretty sure that a British minister of the Crown wouldn't have been quite so warmly welcomed here if I'd arrived in September 1814. But as I just pointed out, you guys won, so, you know, I think we're all friends now. The Royal Navy was, of course, busy blockading that port at the time, but it is, I think, a good thing that our countries are more than resolved, and indeed we have gone on to become not only the closest of friends and allies, but the fiercest champions of freedom, of democracy, of free trade, and of course of the rule of law internationally. Right now, our Navy's working alongside to keep those global shipping lanes open, and of course they're today working together with NATO right up in the northern reaches on Operation Cold Response. The importance of that naval activity underlined powerfully by the horrifying events unfolding in the Ukraine, and indeed the present threats to Odessa itself, as Bill mentioned, the latest to the free flows of trade and the risks to all those who work as seafarers, making sure that those trade flows continue. This extraordinary and very, very large vessel behind me has come apparently all the way from the Indian subcontinent. So that's one hell of a journey, and the boys and girls on board there are doing quietly the extraordinary work of making sure that those flows continue. And I think the UK and the US are key to sharing both a trading relationship and indeed leading that global importance of free trade. We do more together than any other two nations on earth with our trade of investment, worth over $260 billion last year, and more than 1.5 million, I love this statistic, so I'm going to share it with my favourite, more than 1.5 million British citizens get up and go to work each day for American firms, and UK businesses here in the US employ more than 1 million Americans. So we're going to work to get that just right, but you know, we're working on that one. But I just think that's extraordinary. 2.5 million people every day work for our respective businesses. And Maryland alone, of course, exports goods and services to the UK worth 1.8 trillion in 2019. The UK is this state's fourth largest global export market, supporting more than 10,000 jobs here, and over 24,000 Marylanders are employed by UK companies. So as we want to get going on our trade talks today, and it's such a pleasure to be here, Ambassador Tai, thank you for inviting me and my team over. We're going to be exploring how we drive that trade growth between the UK and the US in an inclusive manner, with ports like Baltimore playing an absolutely pivotal role, because ports and the maritime sector as a whole are crucially important to the UK because we are an island nation. 95% of all British imports and exports by volume are moved by sea. So I'm really pleased to say that the UK and the US are helping lead the way together in developing that cutting-edge science and technological innovation that is transforming the maritime sector into a cleaner, greener and more sustainable industry that's going to be fit for the future. Green shipbuilding, a key theme of my recent Board of Trade Maritime report, and a sector that Ambassador Tai and I are going to be discussing during my visit, are key as we seek to use the power of trade to play our country's mutual strengths driven by our shared values. And we're going to be building on the world's strongest bilateral partnership and the fantastic benefits that this brings, helping to deliver growth, to support jobs, and to level up economic opportunity across both our nations. That's really important to both Ambassador Tai and myself personally, because we want to make sure that we unleash the untapped trading potential that our nations share. And I'm looking forward enormously to making plans together with Ambassador Tai to make that a reality for both our nations. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I love it. It all works, you know.
Well, thank you so much, all of you, for coming. Bill and the Port of Baltimore for hosting us this morning for this incredible backdrop. And thank you, Team Maryland, Mayor Scott, Senator Cardin, Senator Van Hollen, Congressman Ruppersberger for joining us on this tour and also for hosting us. I myself am also a daughter of Maryland, and I was just recalling with some of our colleagues here coming up to Baltimore for music lessons at the Peabody, field trips at the Maryland Science Museum, and I just wanted to say we picked Baltimore as a location for this dialogue also because we wanted to highlight one of our great American cities and to show how trade benefits our workers, our communities, and our businesses. The Port of Baltimore is over 300 years old and is an entry point that delivers goods to customers, not just in the Mid-Atlantic region, but nationwide. It is a global hub for commerce, and it plays a crucial role in our U.S. supply chains. The Biden administration is committed to ensuring that this port remains a global hub in the coming decades, which is why the president worked so hard to pass the bipartisan infrastructure legislation. It is fitting that we start our dialogue on the future of Atlantic trade here, as we embark on 2 days of conversations about how we can promote smarter and more strategic trade between the United States and the United Kingdom. It is an opportunity to talk about the shared challenges that we face and how smart and resilient trade can be a tool to tackle those issues. I'm excited to work with Secretary Trevelyan, my good friend, over the next few days to do exactly that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So much appreciate that, all right? We're going to get a photo or something? Okay. Real quick, I'd be remiss, my good friends of the International Longshoremen's Association. They are here. I see Richard Kruger in the back and Frank. Thank you for all the hard work that you guys do here in the port. We can't do it without it. You guys were superstars during the whole COVID crisis. And then Mike Derby, Wallenius Lines. He's with Wallenius, and you talk about that environmental piece to shipping. That Ro-Ro, see the square boxes over there? Wallenius is coming up with a sailing vessel. There'll be metal sails, predicted to be delivered in 2024, 2025. So you might see a big box sail ship coming up the Chesapeake. Hey, with that, we conclude it. We're going to get a couple of photos with that beautiful ship behind us, and we'll take it from there. Thank you very much.
Bill, right here.
Yeah.
Did y'all gather around Bill for one last photo? That is, yeah, he came. 30 dungarees.